If there's one rule I have, it's to never associate with the school's most popular boys. But tell me why they're standing in front of me right now, the ringleader asking me to be his fake boyfriend to make his ex-boyfriend, my bully, jealous. Yeah, my life just went from predictable to absolutely insane in about 3.5 seconds. My name is Jamie Reed. I'm 17, a senior at Westbrook High, and I've perfected the art of being invisible. You know the type. Head down, earbuds in, always sitting in the back corner of every classroom. My hobbies include avoiding eye contact, reading sci-fi novels during lunch, and not dying of embarrassment every time I have to speak in front of the class. I'm what people call the school nerd, though I prefer intellectually inclined and socially selective. Sounds better, doesn't it? My life was simple. Wake up, survive school, go home, repeat. No drama, no complications, no popular boys asking me to pretend we're dating. That is, until Monday morning when everything changed. I was at my locker, reorganizing my textbooks by size because yes, I'm that person when I felt a presence behind me. Not just any presence. The kind that makes the hallway go quiet. The kind that makes freshmen scatter like startled pigeons. I turned around slowly, praying it wasn't who I thought it was. It was worse. Standing there in all their effortless glory were the 4 hockey players everyone at Westbrook worshipped like gods. Carter Hayes, the captain with dark hair that somehow looked perfect even after practice, eyes the color of storm clouds, and a jawline that could cut glass. Beside him stood his best friend Mason Brooks, tall with messy blonde hair and a smile that had probably broken at least 50 hearts. Then there was Tyler Chun, quiet but intense with sharp features and an athlete's build that made every gym class feel like a personal inadequacy reminder. And finally, Nathan Cross, the wild card with auburn hair, freckles, and an energy that suggested he'd never met a rule he didn't want to break. They were the elite, the untouchables, and I was very much touchable in the worst possible way. Carter stepped forward first, leaning against the locker next to mine with a casual grace that seemed physically impossible. Hey, Jamie Reed, right? His voice was deeper than I expected, warm like honey but with an edge that suggested he was used to getting what he wanted. I clutched my physics textbook to my chest like a shield. Yeah, that's me. Do I owe you money or something? Did I accidentally park in your spot? I don't even have a car, so probably not that one. Mason laughed, a sound that made several passing girls literally stop and stare. You're funny. Carter said you'd be funny. My brain short-circuited. Carter Hayes knew my name and had opinions about my sense of humor? What alternate dimension had I woken up in? Look, Carter said, his gray eyes holding mine with an intensity that made me forget how to breathe properly. I need a favor, a big one. And before you say no, hear me out. There's money involved. Also food. I'm prepared to offer substantial amounts of cafeteria French fries. I blinked at him. You're bribing me with cafeteria food? That's the bribe? Setting the bar pretty low there, Captain. Nathan grinned. See? Funny. I told you he'd be perfect. Perfect for what? I asked, though part of me really didn't want to know the answer. Carter glanced at his friends, then back at me. How do you feel about fake dating? The hallway spun. My locker spun. The entire concept of reality spun. I'm sorry, what? Fake dating? Carter repeated like he was asking me to borrow a pencil instead of proposing the most insane thing I'd ever heard. You, me, pretending to be boyfriends. Just for a little while. Maybe a month. 6 weeks tops. My mouth opened. Closed. Opened again. I probably looked like a confused fish. Why would you possibly need a fake boyfriend? And more importantly, why me? I'm literally the least convincing person for this role. I once tried to pretend I understood football and called a touchdown a home run. It was tragic. Tyler spoke for the first time, his voice quiet but firm. Because you're not part of our world. That's exactly why it'll work. Translation: I'm so far beneath their social status that no one would ever suspect this was fake, because why would Carter Hayes date someone like me unless it was real? Wow. That's actually kind of insulting and logical at the same time. Carter ran a hand through his hair, looking almost vulnerable for half a second. My ex-boyfriend, Derek. You know him? Oh, I knew Derek Mitchell all right. Captain of the basketball team, 6'2" of pure athletic intimidation. and the person who'd made my life a living hell since freshman year. He'd perfected the art of making me feel 2 inches tall with just a look, tripping me in hallways, knocking books out of my hands, spreading rumors that I cheated off him in chemistry when really he was the one who couldn't balance an equation to save his life. Yeah, I said carefully. We're acquainted. If by acquainted you mean he exists to torment me. He's not my biggest fan. He's an asshole, Nathan said flatly. No offense. None taken. He really is. Carter sighed. He won't leave me alone. We broke up 3 months ago and he still thinks we're gonna get back together. Shows up at practice, texts me constantly, makes scenes. My coach is threatening to bench me if the drama doesn't stop. And you think fake dating me will make him back off? Seems like it would make him angrier. That's kind of the point, Mason said. Derek hates that Carter's moved on. If Carter's dating someone, especially someone Derek can't intimidate, he trailed off meaningfully. Oh, I said. Oh no. So I'm not just a fake boyfriend. I'm also bait. This gets better and better. The warning bell rang. Students started hurrying to class. Carter moved closer, close enough that I could smell his cologne. Something expensive and woodsy that probably cost more than my entire wardrobe. Please, Jamie. I know it sounds crazy. Dias crazy. But I'm desperate here. 2 months. Help me get through this season without Derek ruining everything. I'll make it worth your while. Worth my while how? I asked, suspicious. Because the fries weren't cutting it anymore. Full protection from Derek and anyone else who gives you trouble. You become untouchable. Also, we have a spare room at the house Mason and I share off campus. You could move in, avoid your dorm situation. I heard you had roommate issues. How did he know about my roommate situation? My roommate Todd was a nightmare who stayed up until 3 a.m. playing video games with the volume on full blast and thought showers were optional. I'd filed 6 complaints with housing and gotten exactly nowhere. And Carter continued, seeing my hesitation crack, complete access to our study group. Mason's pre-med. Tyler's got a perfect GPA in every STEM subject. And Nathan's actually a genius with literature and history even though he pretends he's not. That got my attention. My physics grade was hovering dangerously close to a B- and I needed scholarships. Good scholarships. The kind that required straight A's and a compelling personal statement. So let me get this straight, I said slowly. You want me to pretend to be your boyfriend, move into your house, get free tutoring, and gain protection from the guy who's made my high school experience a living hell? This sounds too good to be true. What's the catch? The catch, Tyler said, is that you have to actually commit. If we're doing this, we're doing it right. Hand-holding in public, eating lunch together, coming to games, the whole thing. Derek has to believe it's real or it won't work. My heart hammered. Public displays of affection with Carter Hayes? The most popular guy in school? The guy I'd been secretly crushing on since sophomore year when he'd smiled at me once in the library and I'd walked straight into a wall? Yeah, I was so screwed. Fine, I heard myself say. The word came out before my brain could stop it. I'll do it. But we need ground rules. Lots of ground rules. And a contract. I want this in writing. Nathan pumped his fist. Yes, this is going to be amazing. Carter's whole face lit up with relief and something else I couldn't quite name. Thank you. Seriously. You have no idea what this means. We'll hash out all the details later. For now, he reached out and took my hand, his fingers warm and calloused from hockey. Just smile and look like you like me when we walk to class together. Wait, I said. Right now? We're starting right now? No time like the present, Mason said cheerfully. Welcome to the team, Jamie. And just like that, I was holding hands with Carter Hayes walking down the main hallway of Westbrook High while every single person stared at us like we just announced we were alien ambassadors from Mars. My life as I knew it was officially over. That afternoon, I found myself standing outside a house I'd driven past 100 times, but never thought I'd actually enter. It was a 2-story rental about 10 minutes from campus, the kind of place that screamed we have money and we're not even trying that hard. Mason unlocked the door and gestured me inside with a flourish. Welcome to Casa de Hockey. Don't worry, we're mostly house-trained. The interior was exactly what you'd expect from 4 teenage athletes living alone. Expensive furniture that looked barely used. A massive TV dominating the living room. Hockey equipment scattered near the door. and a kitchen that was impressively clean considering. Nathan appeared from upstairs carrying a stack of sheets. "Your room's up here. It's the one Tyler used as a study before he decided the living room had better energy or whatever. Don't ask. It's a whole thing." I followed him up a wooden staircase to the second floor. The hallway had 4 doors, 3 open and 1 closed. He pushed open the 4th to reveal a decent-sized bedroom with a bed, desk, dresser, and window overlooking the backyard. It was simple, clean, and approximately 8 million times better than my current dorm situation. "Bathrooms shared between you and Carter," Nathan said. "He's surprisingly clean for a jock. Doesn't leave hair in the sink or anything." High praise. I set my bag down on the bed, still processing that this was actually happening. "So, ground rules," I said, turning to find not just Nathan but all 4 of them had gathered in the doorway. "We should probably establish some boundaries." Carter stepped into the room, hands in his pockets. "Agreed. What are you thinking?" I pulled out my phone where I'd been frantically typing notes during last period. "Okay. Number 1. This arrangement ends the moment Derek backs off completely or at the end of hockey season, whichever comes first. No extensions." Everyone nodded. "Number 2. No lying to people about this being fake except when absolutely necessary. If someone directly asks if we're really dating, I'm not going to lie to their face." "Fair," Mason said. "Number 3. All physical affection happens only when Derek or his friends might see. I'm not doing couple stuff for an audience of random students." Carter's expression flickered with something unreadable. "What about when we're alone? Or when it's just us and the guys? Do we drop the act completely?" I hesitated. That was actually a good question. "Yes. I mean, it's fake, so when it's just us, we don't need to pretend, right?" "Right," he said, but his tone suggested he didn't quite agree. "It's just that if we only act like a couple in public, it might seem forced. People can tell when affection is performative. Maybe we should practice? Practice fake dating?" "Yes, practice. We could do small things. Inside jokes, casual touches, learning each other's habits. Make it feel natural so when we're out there, it's believable." That actually made sense. "Okay. But nothing that makes me uncomfortable. If I say stop, we stop. Always," Carter said firmly. "That goes for all of us. Jamie's safety and comfort come first." Tyler nodded. "We should probably also establish that while this is fake for you two, we're still responsible for Jamie's well-being. He's living here now. That makes him pack." "Pack?" I repeated. "It's a hockey thing," Nathan explained. "We look out for each other. You're with Carter, which means you're with all of us. Anyone messes with you, they mess with us. That's the deal." The certainty in their voices was almost overwhelming. I'd gone from invisible to protected in the span of 6 hours. Felt surreal. "Okay," I said. "Then my rule number 4 is that this stays between us. My friends, if they ask, get the truth. I'm not catfishing people I actually care about." "Deal." Carter extended his hand. We shook on it, and the moment our palms touched, I felt that same spark from the hallway earlier. Chemistry. Real, undeniable chemistry. Which was unfortunate because this was supposed to be fake. "Great," Mason clapped his hands together. "Now that business is settled, let's order pizza and teach Jamie the sacred art of trash talk. We have team bonding night every Monday. You're officially part of the ritual." "I don't know how to trash talk." "Sure you do," Nathan grinned. "You've been doing it since we met. That thing about the home run? Hilarious. We're going to teach you hockey-specific insults, and it's going to be beautiful." That night, sitting on their couch with a slice of pepperoni pizza in one hand and Mason teaching me why calling someone a pylon was the ultimate hockey burn, I realized something. These guys weren't just popular athletes coasting on their looks and talent. They were smart, funny, genuine, and they'd welcomed me into their circle without a single hesitation. Carter caught my eye from across the room and smiled. A real smile, not the performative one he wore in the hallways. For a second, I let myself imagine what it would be like if this wasn't fake. If that smile was meant for me, not for an elaborate plan to get his ex off his back. Then reality crashed back. This was temporary, an arrangement, and I'd be an idiot to forget that, even if my heart was already starting to. The first week of Operation Fake Boyfriend was a crash course in high school social dynamics I'd spent 3 years successfully avoiding. Suddenly, I couldn't walk 10 feet without someone staring. The whispers followed me everywhere. Did you hear? Carter Hayes is dating that nerd from AP Physics. No way. There has to be a catch. Maybe it's a bet? I bet Derek's losing his mind. Monday morning, Carter met me at my locker exactly like we'd planned. He was wearing his hockey jacket, hair still damp from morning practice, and when he saw me, his whole face softened into a smile that made my stomach do a complicated gymnastics routine. "Hey," he said, reaching out to tuck a strand of my hair behind my ear. The gesture was so casual, so intimate, that I forgot we were acting. "Sleep okay? Your room comfortable?" "Yeah, I managed. The bed's great. Way better than dorm mattresses." "Good." He let his hand linger on my shoulder just long enough to be noticed by everyone watching. And they were definitely watching. I could feel at least 30 pairs of eyes tracking our every move. "Ready for chemistry? I have study hall first period. I'll walk you. You don't have to. I want to." He took my hand and just like that, we were a couple walking through Westbrook High's main corridor. His thumb traced absent patterns on my palm, and I tried very hard not to think about how nice it felt. How right. We passed Derek near the science wing. He was leaning against someone's locker, laughing at something one of his basketball friends said. But the moment he saw us, his expression went nuclear. The laughter died. His eyes narrowed. And then he pushed off the locker and started walking toward us with a predatory stride that made my survival instincts scream run. Carter's hand tightened on mine. His other arm slid around my waist, pulling me closer against his side. "I've got you," he murmured low enough that only I could hear. "Just keep walking." Derek cut us off right before the chemistry classroom. Well, he drawled, looking me up and down like I was something unpleasant he'd found on his shoe. "This is new. Didn't know you had a type for charity cases, Carter." Carter's jaw clenched, but his voice stayed level. "Move, Derek. We have class." Derek stepped closer, invading my personal space in a way that made my skin crawl. "How much is he paying you?" he asked me directly. "Because let's be real. There's no way you're actually dating him. You're barely worth acknowledging on a normal day." Every insecurity I'd ever had bubbled up at once. My face burned. But before I could respond, before I could shrink back like I always did, Carter moved. He stepped between us, one hand still holding mine while the other came up to Derek's chest. Not shoving, but definitely establishing distance. "That's enough," his voice had gone quiet. "Dangerous. Jamie's with me. That makes him off limits. You want to have a problem with me? Fine. But you leave him alone. Or what?" Derek challenged. "Or I make your life very difficult." Tyler's voice came from behind us. I turned to find him, Mason, and Nathan had materialized like some kind of hockey player backup squad. The 4 of them together made an intimidating wall of athletic competence. Derek might have had height and basketball teammates, but he was outnumbered and he knew it. "This isn't over," Derek said. But he was already backing down. "Enjoy your little experiment while it lasts." He shoved past us hard enough that I stumbled. Carter caught me instantly, both arms wrapping around me to steady my balance. "You okay?" he asked, his hands running down my arms like he was checking for injuries. "I'm fine. I'm used to it." "You shouldn't have to be used to it," Mason said firmly. "That ends now." The bell rang. Nathan squeezed my shoulder. "We'll see you at lunch, yeah? Sit with us in the cafeteria. Public table, center of the room. Maximum visibility." I nodded, still shaky from the confrontation. Carter walked me into chemistry right up to my desk, and then did something I wasn't expecting. He leaned down and pressed a quick kiss to my forehead. "I'll see you later," he said softly. "If Derek tries anything else, text me immediately." Then he was gone and I was left standing there with my face on fire and Mrs. Chun looking at me with raised eyebrows. "Mr. Reed, if you're quite finished with your romantic moment, perhaps you'd like to take your seat?" I sat down mechanically, pulled out my notebook, and tried very hard to focus on balancing chemical equations instead of the fact that Carter Hayes had just kissed my forehead in front of 20 witnesses and my heart was still racing like I'd run a marathon. This fake dating thing was going to be so much harder than I thought. Lunch was an experience. I'd eaten alone or with my two actual friends, Priya and Marcus, for 3 years. The idea of walking into the cafeteria and sitting at the hockey table, the most coveted social real estate in school, made me want to fake a stomach flu and hide in the library. But I'd made a deal. So when the lunch bell rang, I straightened my shoulders, grabbed my bag, and headed toward my social doom. The cafeteria was already packed. I scanned the room and spotted them immediately. Center table, just like Nathan said. Impossible to miss. Mason saw me first and waved me over with an enthusiasm that seemed way too genuine for a fake arrangement. Jamie, over here. Every head turned. The popular girls at the next table stopped mid-conversation. The debate team I sometimes studied with looked confused. And Derek, sitting with his basketball crew in the corner, looked like he wanted to set something on fire, preferably me. I wove through the tables, very aware that I was performing for an audience. When I reached the hockey table, Tyler moved over to make space next to Carter. Sit, Carter said, patting the bench. I saved you the good spot. The good spot? Away from the direction people throw food when the food fight starts, Nathan explained seriously. It happens more often than you'd think. I sat down and immediately Carter's arm went around my shoulders like it belonged there. His body was warm along my side and he smelled like the same cologne from this morning mixed with whatever soap they used in the locker rooms. It was distracting in the best-worst way. So, Mason said, pulling out what looked like an actual gourmet sandwich instead of cafeteria food. Tell us about yourself, Jamie. We're doing the whole getting to know you thing. Favorite color? Favorite food? Deepest, darkest secrets. The usual. I blinked at him. My deepest, darkest secrets? That's your opener? Nathan grinned. He's joking. Mostly. Start with easy stuff. What are you into besides being terrifyingly smart? I'm not terrifyingly smart. You're in AP everything, Tyler pointed out. And you're taking college-level physics as an elective. That's terrifying. It's also hot, Carter added casually, and I choked on my own breath. Everyone laughed. I like reading, I said when I could speak again. Sci-fi mostly. Building computers. I've been teaching myself to code since middle school. I want to go into software engineering. That's awesome, Mason said. Tyler's into coding too. You guys should nerd out together sometime. Before I could respond, someone cleared their throat behind me. I turned to find Priya and Marcus standing there with their lunch trays, looking at me like I'd grown a second head. Jamie, Priya said slowly. What are you doing? Eating lunch? I tried for casual. Failed miserably. With the hockey team, Marcus finished. Since when do you know the hockey team? Since recently, Carter answered before I could. And you are? I'm Priya. This is Marcus. We're Jamie's actual friends. The emphasis on actual made it clear what she thought about this situation. The tension ramped up instantly. Nathan, ever the peacemaker, gestured to the empty seats across from us. Want to join? We don't bite. Much. Priya and Marcus exchanged a look, some kind of silent best friend communication, then sat down. Priya immediately fixed me with a stare that said, we're talking about this later. So, she said sweetly, Carter Hayes, I've heard a lot about you. All good things, I'm sure, Carter replied smoothly. The best, Priya said. Things like captain of the hockey team, dated Derek Mitchell for 6 months, and recently single. Up until apparently right now. Her eyes flicked to Carter's arm still around my shoulders. That's fast. When, you know, Mason said, jumping in. Carter's been talking about asking Jamie out for weeks. He has? I said at the same time Priya said, he has? Carter squeezed my shoulder. I have. I just wasn't sure you'd say yes. The lie came out so smoothly I almost believed it myself. Marcus leaned forward. So this is legit? You two are actually dating? Very legit, Tyler confirmed. It's honestly kind of disgusting how much Carter talks about him. We've had to implement a gushing limit. Twice per practice max. Nathan nodded seriously. Yesterday he used up both within the first 10 minutes. We had to penalize him with extra drills. I could feel my face turning red. They were really selling this. Maybe too well because Priya was looking less suspicious and more concerned. Jamie, can I talk to you? Alone? Now we have class together next period, I hedged. Can it wait? No, she said flatly. It really can't. Carter's arm dropped from my shoulders. Go ahead. We'll save your seat. I got up and followed Priya and Marcus to a quieter corner of the cafeteria. The moment we were out of earshot, Priya grabbed my arm. Okay, explain. Right now. What's happening? It's complicated. Try me. I'm very smart. I looked at Marcus. He crossed his arms. We're both very smart. And we know when you're hiding something. The thing was, I'd already decided they deserved the truth. Rule number 4. So I took a deep breath and told them everything. The fake dating plan, Derek being Carter's ex and my bully, the living arrangement, all of it. When I finished, they both stared at me in silence for a solid 10 seconds. Then Marcus said, "That's the most insane thing I've ever heard. And I once watched you try to microwave a burrito still in the foil. You're fake dating Carter Hayes," Priya repeated slowly, "to make his ex-boyfriend jealous. And you moved in with him and 3 other hockey players." "Yes. Jamie," she said, "you're going to fall for him. You realize that, right? You're going to catch real feelings and this is going to explode in your face." "I'm not going to fall for him. It's fake. We have rules." "Rules don't stop feelings," Marcus said. "Especially when you already like him." I sputtered. "I don't already like him. You've had a crush on him since sophomore year. You literally walked into a wall when he smiled at you in the library. That was one time. And you told us," Priya added. "Multiple times. With sighing. There was definite sighing involved." "Okay," I held up my hands. "Fine. Maybe I thought he was attractive. But this is different. This is business. Carter needs help and I need protection from Derek plus better housing. It's mutually beneficial." They both gave me identical looks of pity. "Oh, Jamie," Marcus said sadly. "You're so screwed." The bell rang before I could defend myself. We headed to our next classes and I tried not to think about how right they might be. But here's the thing. They were wrong. I wasn't going to fall for Carter Hayes. I was going to keep this professional, survive the next 2 months, and then go back to my normal invisible life. Totally doable. Absolutely. I was completely in control. Was I in control? By the end of the first week, the entire school had accepted Carter and me as a couple. We'd achieved what we set out to do. Derek was noticeably angrier, which meant the plan was working, and I'd gone from invisible to infamous. People I'd never spoken to suddenly knew my name. Girls approached me in the bathroom to ask what Carter was like as a boyfriend. Guys from the hockey team high-fived me in the hallways like I'd won some kind of prize. It was surreal. But the weirdest part? Living with Carter and the guys felt natural. Too natural. We fell into routines. Mason made breakfast because he was the only one who could cook without setting off the smoke alarm. Tyler claimed the bathroom from 6 to 7 a.m. sharp, and heaven help anyone who disrupted his schedule. Nathan controlled the TV remote with an iron fist and surprisingly good taste in movies. And Carter was everywhere. In the kitchen when I came down for coffee, hair messy from sleep, wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt that showed off arms I was definitely not staring at. In the living room when I tried to study, asking questions about my physics homework that proved he wasn't just an athlete coasting by. In the hallway outside the bathroom we shared, always polite about timing, always smelling like expensive shampoo. And at night, the walls between our rooms were thin enough that I could hear him moving around, could hear the moment his light clicked off, could imagine him falling asleep just a few feet away. It was torture. Sweet, confusing torture. Friday night, after their game, a win against Lincoln Prep that everyone was still buzzing about, the guys decided to celebrate with a movie marathon. Something with explosions and very little plot, according to Nathan's description. I was planning to hide in my room, give them space for team bonding, but Carter knocked on my door around 8. "You coming down?" he asked, leaning against the doorframe in that effortless way that should be illegal. "Or are you too cool for our terrible taste in action movies?" "I'm very cool," I said. So cool that I was definitely going to say no and maintain my dignity. But his eyes did this hopeful thing, and before I knew it, I was saying, "But I guess I could watch one. Just one." "Nathan's already made popcorn," Carter grinned. "The good kind with real butter." "You're bribing me with popcorn now? It's working though, isn't it?" It was. We headed downstairs where Mason had claimed the recliner. Tyler was setting up the movie, and Nathan was indeed emerging from the kitchen with a bowl of popcorn that smelled incredible. "Jamie," Nathan said. "Perfect timing. You get the good couch spot between Carter and Tyler. Most protected position in case of pillow fight." "Do you guys have pillow fights often?" I asked, suspicious. "Only when the movie gets boring," Tyler said seriously, "which is always around the 40-minute mark." I sat down on the couch, and immediately Carter settled in next to me, close enough that our thighs touched. He didn't make a big deal of it, just grabbed a blanket from the back of the couch and threw it over both our laps like this was completely normal. "You cold?" he asked. "I'm fine. Tell me if you want more blanket." I'm a notorious blanket hog. Good to know. The movie started. It was exactly as advertised. Big explosions, minimal character development, physics that would make my teacher cry. But I wasn't really watching. I was hyper-aware of every point of contact between Carter and me. His shoulder against mine. His hand resting on the couch cushion between us, close enough that if I moved my pinky, we'd be touching. The steady rhythm of his breathing. 30 minutes in, Nathan threw popcorn at Tyler's head. Tyler retaliated. Suddenly, it was chaos. Popcorn flew through the air like snowy confetti. Mason dove behind the recliner. And somehow I ended up half on Carter's lap, his arms around me. Both of us laughing helplessly while Nathan declared victory from atop the coffee table. "We should probably clean this up," I said when the battle ended and popcorn covered every surface. "Before we attract ants or something." 5-second rule applies to popcorn, Nathan said confidently. "No," Mason said. "No, it definitely doesn't." We cleaned up together, all 5 of us, and it felt like something real. Like friendship. Like family. Like I belonged here. When I went to bed that night, I tried not to think about how much I was going to miss this when it was over. Tried not to think about Priya's warning. "You're going to fall for him." But as I lay there in the dark, Carter's room just on the other side of the wall, I had to admit the terrifying truth. I wasn't going to fall for Carter Hayes. Past tense. Too late for warnings. I already had. Week 2 brought complications I hadn't anticipated. The first one appeared Monday morning in the form of Blake Morrison. I was at my locker, switching out textbooks between second and third period, when someone cleared their throat behind me. I turned to find a guy I vaguely recognized from the hockey team. Not one of Carter's close friends, but definitely part of the same social stratosphere. "Hey, Jamie, right?" He leaned against the locker next to mine with a smile that was probably meant to be charming. "I'm Blake." "Yeah, I know. We have English together." His smile widened. "You've noticed me. That's good. That's a start." "A start to what?" I asked, confused. "Here's the thing," Blake said, moving closer. "I don't buy this whole you and Carter thing. I think it's for show. I think you're available. And I think you're cute. So I'm asking you out." My brain blue-screened. "You're asking me out while you think I'm dating your teammate? That's either really bold or really stupid. Why not both?" He reached out to touch my arm and I stepped back automatically. But before I could formulate a response that wouldn't end in complete social disaster, a voice came from behind Blake. "Pretty sure he just said he's with me. You got a hearing problem, Morrison?" Carter appeared like some kind of avenging angel. He wasn't angry exactly, but his expression had gone very carefully neutral. The same look he wore before a fight on the ice. Blake held up his hands. "Just making conversation, Captain." "Doesn't look like conversation," Tyler said, materializing on Blake's other side. "Looks like harassment." Blake's confidence cracked. "Come on, guys. I was just leaving," Mason finished, appearing to complete the triangle. "Great idea." Blake left. Fast. The moment he was gone, Carter turned to me, that neutral expression melting into concern. "Did he touch you? Are you okay?" "I'm fine. He was just an asshole," Nathan supplied, joining our group. That's what he was. "Apparently we have a problem on the team. Some guys think fake dating means Jamie's fair game." "It's not," Carter said, his voice hard. "Jamie's off limits. Period. Whether this is real or not doesn't matter. He's under our protection, and anyone who doesn't respect that can find another team to play for." The fierce way he said it made something in my chest go warm. But it also made me realize that this situation was more complicated than we'd planned. People weren't just noticing us. They were testing boundaries. And some of them clearly didn't believe the relationship was real. We should sell it harder, I said. The fake dating. Make it more convincing so people like Blake don't think they have a chance. How? Tyler asked. You're already sitting together at lunch, walking to classes, holding hands, coming to games. What else is there? Couple stuff, I said. Like what real boyfriends do. Inside jokes. More casual touching. Maybe. I hesitated because this next part was going to sound insane. Maybe we should kiss. In public. Just once. Make it really clear we're together. The hallway seemed to go very quiet. Carter stared at me. You want to kiss me? For the plan, I clarified quickly. To make it believable. If people see us kiss, really kiss, they'll stop questioning if it's real. Mason whistled low. That's actually smart. Very committed to the bit. Nathan grinned. I like how his brain works. Tyler just looked between us. Carter, are you okay with that? Carter hadn't stopped staring at me. His gray eyes had gone dark. Intense in a way that made my pulse skip. Yeah, he said finally. Yeah, that makes sense. When? This Friday, I decided before I could chicken out. At the game. You guys play Riverside, right? Big rivalry game, lots of crowd. Everyone will see. Everyone will talk. Exactly. He stepped closer. Close enough that I had to tilt my head back to maintain eye contact. You're sure about this? Kissing me in front of the entire school? I'm sure. It's for the plan. Right? The plan. Something flickered in his expression. The bell rang. We dispersed to our classes. And I spent the entire period trying not to panic about the fact that I just agreed to kiss Carter Hayes in 3 days. For the plan. For the fake relationship. Not because I desperately wanted to know what his lips felt like or how his hands would frame my face or if he'd be gentle or demanding or some perfect combination of both. Nope. Purely strategic. I was such a liar. Even to myself. The days before Friday's game passed in a blur of anticipation and dread. Every moment around Carter felt charged. Like we were both waiting for something to shift. He was different too. More tactile. His hand would find my lower back when we walked through crowded hallways. He'd play with my fingers absent-mindedly during lunch. Once, I caught him staring at my mouth while I was talking about a coding project, and when he realized I'd noticed, he didn't look away, just smiled the slow, dangerous smile that made me forget how to speak. Wednesday night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the kiss, wondering if I'd made a huge mistake. Around midnight, I gave up on rest and headed downstairs for water. The house was dark and quiet, everyone else asleep, or so I thought. Carter was in the kitchen, leaning against the counter with a glass of water, wearing nothing but sweatpants. My brain short-circuited for the second time that week. Sorry, I said. Didn't mean to interrupt. You're not interrupting. Couldn't sleep either? I shook my head, moving to the sink to fill my own glass. Too much on your mind? You could say that. He was quiet for a moment, then said, about Friday. We should probably talk about the kiss. Yeah. I stayed focused on the water. That would be smart. Setting expectations. I've kissed people before, Carter said carefully. For real, I mean, obviously. But this is different because it's planned. It's part of the arrangement. I nodded, not trusting my voice. I just want to make sure you're actually okay with it, he continued. Because if you're not, we can find another way. I don't want you to feel pressured. I turned to face him. The kitchen was dim, just the light from the hallway creating shadows across his features. He looked younger like this, less like the confident captain everyone saw and more like a guy who was genuinely worried about consent. I'm okay with it, I said. Are you? Of course. He said it too quickly. Then slower, it's just, what? It's just that it won't feel like acting. Not for me. My heart stopped. What was he saying? Before I could ask, he continued, you're easy to be around, Jamie. The past 2 weeks, living here with you, it's been. He ran a hand through his hair, frustrated with his own words. I didn't expect that. Didn't expect you. I didn't expect you either, I admitted quietly. This was supposed to be simple. Yeah. It was. We stood there in the dark kitchen, 2 feet apart, and I wondered if he could hear my heartbeat thundering. If he knew that I wanted to close the distance between us. If he felt the same magnetic pull I did. Carter set his glass down on the counter. Jamie, he started. But whatever he was going to say was interrupted by Nathan appearing in the doorway like a sleep-deprived ghost. "Why are you guys having feelings time without me?" He mumbled. "If we're doing 2 a.m. kitchen heart-to-hearts, I want in. That's the rule." The moment broke. Carter stepped back. Nathan shuffled to the fridge. And I went back to my room with more questions than answers. Thursday passed in a haze. By the time Friday arrived, I was a bundle of nerves. I'd been to exactly 2 hockey games in my life before this month, both times hiding in the back row. Now I was expected to sit in the front, wear Carter's spare jersey, and very publicly kiss him in front of hundreds of people. No pressure. Priya and Marcus came over before the game to help me prepare mentally, which mostly meant Priya doing my hair and Marcus giving me a pep talk. "You're going to be fine," Marcus said. "It's just a kiss." It's Carter Hayes. I reminded him. In public. In front of Derek. "If I mess this up." "You won't mess it up," Priya said, finishing whatever she was doing to my hair. "Kissing is instinct. Your body knows what to do. Besides, Carter's the one who should be nervous. You're the catch here." "I'm the catch?" I repeated skeptically. "Jamie," Marcus said seriously. "You're smart, funny, kind, and you look cute in that jersey. Carter would be lucky to really date you. The fake dating is him winning the lottery and not knowing it." That was surprisingly sweet. "Thanks, guys. We're your friends," Priya said. "We're contractually obligated to support you even when you make choices that will definitely end in emotional devastation." "Geez, thanks for the vote of confidence." We arrived at the rink 30 minutes before game time. The stands were already half full, the energy electric. I found seats in the student section right up front like Carter had asked. My stomach churned with nerves. The team came out for warm-ups and I spotted Carter immediately. He was in his element on the ice, powerful and graceful at once. But when he skated by our section, his eyes found mine and he smiled. A real smile just for me, not for the crowd. I smiled back before I could overthink it. The game was intense. Riverside was good, really good, and they had a grudge against Westbrook. The first period was all defense. No scores on either side. During the break, Mason skated over to the boards. "How you holding up?" He called out to me. Terrified, I yelled back honestly. He laughed. "You'll be fine. Just follow Carter's lead." The second period, Westbrook scored first. Tyler with an assist from Nathan. The student section went wild. I found myself on my feet, cheering like I'd been a hockey fan my entire life. Third period, Riverside tied it up. Then, with 5 minutes left, Carter got the puck. He moved down the ice like water, smooth and unstoppable. Dodged 2 defenders, faked out the goalie, and shot. Goal. The buzzer sounded. Westbrook won. And the crowd absolutely erupted. I was jumping and screaming with everyone else, caught up in the excitement. The team celebrated on the ice, piling on Carter in a victory hug. But then they broke apart and Carter looked up at the stands. At me. He skated over to the boards, breathing hard, hair plastered to his forehead with sweat, eyes bright with adrenaline and something else. Something that looked a lot like determination. The crowd around us started to notice. People were pulling out phones. My heart hammered. This was it. "Carter," I started. But he didn't let me finish. He reached up, caught the back of my head with his gloved hand, and pulled me down into a kiss. It wasn't gentle. It wasn't tentative. It was fierce and claiming and absolutely nothing like fake. His mouth moved against mine with a certainty that stole my breath. I kissed him back without thinking, my hands gripping the edge of the boards to keep myself steady. The crowd's roar went up another decibel. Somewhere in the distance, I heard Mason Wolfe whistling. Nathan was probably filming this, but all I could focus on was Carter. The way he kissed like he'd been waiting forever. The way his thumb stroked against my jaw. The way when he finally pulled back, he looked at me like I was the only person in the entire rink. "Wow," I breathed. "Yeah," he said, voice rough. "Wow." Then he smiled, winked, and skated away to celebrate with his team. And I was left standing there, kissed breathless in front of the entire school, knowing with absolute certainty that nothing about this arrangement was fake anymore. Not for me. And based on that kiss, not for him either. I was in so much trouble. So there you have it. I went from invisible nerd to fake boyfriend of the most popular guy in school. And somewhere between the contract, the living together, and that kiss that definitely wasn't acting, I fell for him. Hard. But here's the thing, does Carter actually feel the same way? Or am I about to get my heart shattered in front of the entire school? And wait until you hear about Mason. Trust me, things are about to get very complicated. If you want to find out what happens next, if this fake relationship becomes real, and whether I survive the mess I've gotten myself into, hit that subscribe button right now. Because episode 2 is where everything changes. The blackmail, the confession, and a twist involving one of Carter's best friends that you absolutely won't see coming. Also, drop a comment below and tell me, would you have said yes to Carter's fake dating plan? Or would you have run in the opposite direction? I need to know I'm not the only one who makes questionable life choices. Until next time, remember, sometimes the best love stories start with the worst ideas.